Good morning, and a very good morning it is as well. It's race day Saturday, which also, of course, will go into Sunday, here at the 50th anniversary running of the Nürburgring 24 Hours. 2020's race, unlike any other race that we've had here in the half-century of history of this phenomenal challenge for cars, teams, and, of course, for the drivers. My name's John Hindhaugh. We're here in the Audi Sport Live studio, which is situated right above the pits. That's what's going on in the pits at the moment. Not very much at all, but as you can see, it's still a little bit damp from some overnight rain. It was a wee bit foggy out on the Nürburgring Nordschleife this morning, so very much a Nürburgring day, to be honest. The weather is going to be part of the story this weekend. If you weren't with us yesterday, first of all, why not? The good news is you can catch up on everything that we've done. If you're watching now on the live stream, right in the middle, there's a library button, and you can click on that. There's a playlist with all of the 5 shows that we did yesterday, introducing the team here, introducing some of the drivers from all of the Audi Sport and Audi Sport Customer Racing teams that are competing here this weekend. And Frank Bela, Alan McNish and myself talking about a number of the topics that came up yesterday, with some fantastic guests shedding some light on what goes on behind the scenes here at the Nürburgring Nordschleife and the 24 Hours. Today, of course, we're building up to the race. There will be race coverage with the full live international feed with Radio Show Limited commentary. That's going to be headed up by Johnny Palmer with the rest of the team. So you don't have to miss out on any of the action. Think of us as an addition, a second screen or maybe a third screen for those of you who've got the timing screens up as well. But we'll be giving you some behind the scenes insights into what goes on. Alan's not with us in the studio. We've already sent him down into the pits. We'll check in with him in a few moments' time. We'll start today, this Saturday, with a couple of great guests. You've seen them both already if you've been with us. To my direct right is Chris Reinke, the head of the Audi Sport and Audi Sport Customer Racing. And Frank Bela is with me as well, right over on the far side. You will notice we are socially distanced, which is why we don't have the masks on, but well more than the 1.5 metres that are required here with the protocol that we're all having to work under this weekend. Chris, first of all, welcome back to the Audi Sport studio. We'll talk in a little more detail in a moment, but I think it was fair to say a character building day yesterday for Audi Sport and Audi Sport Customer Racing.
Well, for sure, I think that's a good description. But first of all, a warm welcome to you as well, and to all the audience out there on the web. A warm welcome here out of the studio, out of the cold and wet Eifel here at the moment. And as you say, building up for race day, focus is on now, tension is on as well, especially as we had a character building day yesterday, as you described it. I think we came here very well prepared. Not one of the cars has a scratch. We have a guy who does a vinyl on the cars. He's basically without work all weekend. So that was a very, very good preparation. No technical grumblings of any kind on the cars. But then obviously we didn't pick the right tire choice for qualifying. We have our 3 Audi Sport cars, additional number 5 cars of Phoenix Racing within the top 20. But then when the qualifying went ahead, we were able to position them within the top 15, but not within the top 10. But hey, better it happens yesterday, and we could review the whole situation overnight, and therefore being even better prepared for the race itself.
All about communication, Frank. From a driver's point of view, the drivers will have done their best. They do nothing ever less than that. So yesterday evening, a bit of chat going on and working out where to go today.
No, sure. Whenever they go out, they try their best, and they can only get out of it what they have in the car. And if there are some wrong decisions taken, it's difficult to show the performance. But saying wrong decisions taken, it will be very, very difficult this weekend, because we do have different circumstances every lap, each corner. Conditions will be different, so it's a very difficult job for the engineers. You have to be concentrated on what's going out there, and as qualifying showed us, you have to have the right decisions in the right moment. Otherwise, it's very easy to struggle out there, and that's something they have to keep an eye on for the race, no doubt. But as Chris just mentioned, I'm 100% sure they are well prepared for the race, And from a driver's point of view, it's going to be very difficult. We have less cars on track, so the race will be faster, which means physically harder. On the other hand, wet conditions, not physically as hard as it would be in the dry, but you have to be concentrated even more. So it's mentally very hard. So it's a big challenge for everybody.
We'll discuss that and perhaps just elaborate on some of those points that Frank and Chris have made in a few moments' time. But first of all, let's take you to another very important person who we talked to earlier on in the week, a man with a lot of responsibility here at the Nürburgring Nordschleife, the race director Walter Hohnung. We can't speak to him now because he's getting ready to make all of the decisions required for the race, but we caught up with him earlier on in the week and asked him about how this race was different from previous years.
Ja, es wird sicher ein sehr schweres Rennen für die Teams. Zum einen haben wir auch durch die Krise weniger Starter. Wir haben also Standnennungen, sind 97 Starter, in den Vorjahren haben wir immer sehr viel mehr. Das vereinfacht vielleicht die Sache ein bisschen, aber die Nacht ist am Wochenende genauso lang wie der Tag. Das heißt, haben wir 12 Stunden Dunkelheit circa mitzurechnen. Und ja, das ist schon eine schwierige Herausforderung für die Teams und für die Fahrer.
So difficult for the race officials as well as for the teams and drivers. Chris, you mentioned about tyre choice yesterday and how difficult that would be. Given the time of year and the temperature of the track, does that narrow your choices down? I know you've got, for the Michelins, at least 3 tyre choices for the slicks, which effectively are applied to the track temperature. We call them soft, medium and hard, but as we were talking with McNish last night, you might as well call them cold, warmer and hot, to be honest. Does that, in some ways, change the way you have to look at it? Because talking to the Michelin engineers, they thought that perhaps we wouldn't get over 20 degrees C on the track, and so that leaves only one slick choice for you.
Well, at the end, you can see it both ways. For sure, the matrix of choices get reduced because the weather conditions will only allow a fewer different configuration of tires. But therefore, these changing conditions will ask for maybe adoption on kinematics, adoption on tire pressure. So you widen the matrix on a different side because we expect extremely cold conditions overnight, different levels of wetness through the complete race, and probably even a dry end of the race. So your conditions matrix becomes wider. So I think what we expect the choices to pick out will be of a wider range than before.
And when you talk about the conditions matrix, that's the sort of decisions that have been made directly by the driver and his engineer, or do the guys next door in mission control get involved as well and we talk about mission control, by the way, because the other side of our glass here is that we can't show these pictures for very long because we don't want to give any of the competitors any little bits of information there about what's going on. But is that the sort of thing that everybody's having to work together and looking at the real-time data?
Well, there's not one person. It's about communication and get the experience, the knowledge, and the confidence out of every parameter involved. It's obviously the driver out there on the track who has the best overview how the track condition is at that very moment and what kind of tire maybe would give him the confidence to perform to his max. Then obviously we have the race team downstairs who out of their experience see what the car maybe parameters bring along, could suggest an adoption of this choice, and then we have the analytics running up here with the weather forecast, with the options we have seen in testing before, with adoptions, and all these pool of knowledge together will at the end cause a decision.
Strategy, Frank. In motor racing, strategy is key. You've raced at Le Mans, you've raced here, you've raced other 24-hour races, but the length of this track means that you've got to get your strategy spot on because there is only a certain amount of laps you can do here, and you know you're not going to get part the way around and get the car home.
No, exactly. And let's say in normal dry conditions, if you are maybe the decision is taken a little bit too early for the harder tire or whatever in dry conditions, then it might cost you maybe 1 or 2 laps. But then within the stint, it equals out and it works fine. But with changing conditions lap by lap, probably. you have to be there spot on, and it always has to fit very well. So the communication is very important. It's very important what the drivers say, how it works. And as long as everything works fine out there and you feel confident and the pace is there, I think there's not so much conversation going on. But then sooner or later, maybe you run into little issues, not so much grip anymore, tires dropping, whatever. Then it starts. And then the communication and the teamwork is very, very important.
And the conditions change so quickly here at the Nürburgring. And because it's so long, you come to Kallenhardt, and you think, it's fine, Kallenhardt is good, I know how much grip I've got. Next time you come around, it's 8.5 minutes later. Could be completely different. So in the kind of conditions we're expecting this weekend, are you ever on the right tyre? Do you ever have the perfect car?
Probably not, probably not. But the one who is the closest has the best pace, you know.
And therefore, the feedback from the driver at that point,
Very
Chris,
important.
is just as important as what is being seen from the data, because it's going to come down to that. Almost, you can't measure it. It's the feel that the driver has. You can look at all the data in the world, but if the driver is comfortable or indeed uncomfortable, then decisions have to be made.
Exactly. We wouldn't go too far away from the driver's choice, because it would ruin his confidence, and that's what we need, especially out on this track, the driver's confidence. The other thing is the driver can judge the here and now. When he goes around the lap, he sees where the weather condition is now. Obviously, with weather forecast, it's accessible to us here. We can see how the weather might be in the next lap. With in detail tire analysis, we might be able to tell him how his tire will be in 4 laps.
Yes.
That information he doesn't have on hand when he suggests what he would do in the here and now. And therefore, it needs every quality to suggest into one communication pool before a decision is taken.
2 questions for you to finish up. What's the mood like, first of all, within the Audi Sport and the Audi Sport customer teams?
Well, at the moment, of course, it's race day. Yeah? I mean, usually we wait a full year for this one race. This year we had to wait 1.5 years that we came back. We have the honor to fly the number 1 on our car, because we have the trophy with us, so we don't want to give up the number 1. So it's huge. Yes, yesterday we had a character building day, so for sure we want to prove that we cannot just come back but overcome the complete situation. So we're all absolutely exciting, can't wait, and we know that we have a phenomenal setup. Yeah, with the cars involved, with the driver, with the whole preparation, so we can't wait for the flag to drop.
Complex situation, as you said. So are you confident that you're ready for this right now? Are you completely prepared?
100%.
That's the kind of answer I like, Chris. That's the kind of... We have got the trophy here, by the way. We'll have it on the desk a little bit later on. We are coming up to the time when 1 hour of warm-up is going to start. And you'll notice that Alan McNish is not down here. We've sent him down there for his, if you like, his fan experience. You can't be here this year, so Alan is going to be representing you. And as you can see, he's wrapped up against the warm, wearing shirts here. It's a wee bit more chilly down there, Alan. Good morning.
Good morning. It's very cold down here, and there's a tremendous wind as well that's bringing the rain in. So changing conditions very much as the cars are being pushed through. With both the Audis, the number 3 and the 29, have gone out. Rennie Rast is going to be driving the 29, and it's going to be Marcus Winkelhock in the number 3. As the tyres are getting pulled through, everybody's trying to get out. Now, it is 1 hour, John, but it's one critical hour, because it's going to give them the feeling in feedback of what the track conditions are like for the start of the race. And if they get things like tyre choice, tyre pressures correct, then that will be a big advantage or disadvantage. So there's a lot of work that went last night up in Mission Control, as you know, and now it's about putting it into practice. Just one little thing. We see on the left-hand side, the number 3, Mirko Bortolotto is in that car, Marcus Winkelhock. That's the 2 drivers that's run all the qualifying, because Robin Frins hasn't been able to join through illness. And at the other side, Christopher Hasse is not here because he's racing in Zandvoort, double weekend. Chris Renke definitely is getting his value for money out of the drivers. But let's have a look around. Here's Mirko Bortolotti. Mirko, just 1 second. Here's the microphone. Obviously, at the moment, you're not dressed to drive, but with these changing conditions that you have, I would think this warm-up is very valuable experience.
Yeah, absolutely. We got some things to try in the warm-up for the race, because obviously the conditions will be changing a lot, especially in the first 15, 16 hours. That's what we expect. So we're trying a few things just to learn something for the race, because everything you can learn now can be really crucial and really important for the race. So let's see.
And how do you feel in the car? Because obviously, one thing, this circuit, and as you said, it's all about adaptability. The car and the driver adapting to changing situations all the way through. That's been one of the strong points of the Audi R8. Is it something that we're going to see in the race here?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it will be crucial to really adapt to the situation, to be also doing the right calls, working together with your team, with your engineers. It will be a really, really tough race for all of us. We will need to be making right decisions at the right moment, and that can make the difference in this race. Also, related to tire options and strategy especially, but also on track, as you mentioned, trying to find the right spots, the right lines at the right moment can give you a lot of performance, and at the end of the day can make the difference between being at the very top or struggling a bit more.
Well, keep it being at the very top, that's the job. And so I'll let you get on and prepare, because I understand you might have to get changed to go and drive.
Thank you, guys. Yep.
Thank you.
Alan, it's signed off in the studio
Yep.
here. Can we confirm that all the Audis are indeed going out to use this essential session?
Yes, at the moment, well, we've got a couple of the car guys over here that are not out at the moment. The Iron Force car hasn't gone out, car collection hasn't gone out, but they are preparing to get it done. The thing is, it's 1 hour, John, and with so many cars, if I was in this as a team principal hat on again, I would probably let some of the cars go and then get a little bit of clear space. See what the circuit conditions are like, because they are changing. It is getting wetter. And as you know, if you go out in the wrong tyre, it's 9-10 minutes before you can even get back to get to the pit lane to change them. But I'm going to check this out, exactly what the time planning is. Pierre Caffer's hat, his helmet is actually sitting over there, ready and prepared. And he's driving this number 11 Iron Force Racing Audi R8. But if we come over this way, John, this is what it's going to be like. If you think of a chaotic pit, it is when there's a car in here and there's things going on, there's problems. If you think of a pit that's got 5 or 6 cars in it, never mind all the people here from land, motorsport on the other side, or all the other areas, it's just going to be crazy down here in the race. If there's 2 cars that have problems at the same time, I've got to be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure how they're going to work.
Alan, you know we've had up to 8 cars in a pit in this race before, and not always from the same manufacturer. There's always got to be a bit of give and take, I think. All right, stay safe down there, try and keep warm, and we'll check in with you throughout the day.
See you later.
Thank you. Alan McNish then down there in the pit lane. As you can probably see from our live international feed as well, the green flag is out, so the cars are going out on the track. I think a good point made there by Alan. Let some people get out there, clear some of the standing water. We've had a couple of sessions already for Formula 4 on the Grand Prix circuit, and also WTCR with a race that they were having this morning on the full Nürburgring Nordschleife for exactly the same configuration of the track that we'll be using for the race. And that is an interesting point, and that's where we'll end this little part of our show, because we'll be back at 12:30, half midday, with a bit of WTCR chat, because of course Audi not just racing here and in Zandvoort with the GT3 cars, but also represented here in the WTCR. So for the moment, Chris, thank you very much indeed for being with us. Frank, thank you. Come back and join us just after midday, 12:30. Let's sit settled back now and enjoy the morning warm-up in the company of Peter Snowden and Johnny Palmer.